Hi there, welcome back to my channel. My name's Lai and I'm 25 years old on PD, peritoneal dialysis, and today I'm just going to be refilling my pill box again for the week coming. So yeah, for those who saw last week, it's the same Jacob's cracker box. So yeah, let's just get Hey guys, welcome back to another video of come refill my pillbox with me. A mouthful, I know. I think we're going to need to come up with an acronym or something. What I've really decided is to turn this series into almost a Q&A series. So obviously at the moment I don't have much of an audience to come up with Q&As to talk about, but I have plenty of topics that I can come up talking about, like the minutiae of my life regarding kidney disease, working on dialysis itself, and many more things. So if you have a topic for me to talk about, please leave a comment below. I'm more than happy to talk about anything in the next week's episode. In this week's episode, I will be talking about my thoughts about wearing a face mask in public, particularly in a social setting or a work setting. So obviously I am on dialysis, but I am not immunosuppressed via medication in any way. I only have like a low immune system just because, you know, I'm on dialysis, I don't have a working kidney, etc, etc. Obviously, due to this reason, I feel the need to wear a face mask when I'm in public in order to avoid COVID. And probably most other like random viruses. Like I wouldn't even want to get a flu, wouldn't be happy with myself, a cold or like the norovirus, like a stomach flu would not be good for me considering my dialysis catheter is on my stomach. So even getting like the norovirus would not be a good idea. Ever since returning to society, as it were, like going to work events, going to college, going to the office, I've always worn a face mask, so that whether that's like sitting at my desk, listening to lectures or networking. And something that I've really noticed about wearing a face mask is the fact that it really limits your opportunity to express yourself because your face is covered. And as someone who is very expressive and very sociable, and you know, one of the best things about going outside and going to the office is to talk to my colleagues and friends at work. And it's just really difficult to kind of convey any sort of expression or emotion without showing my face. And I've noticed that it's really hard to not only initiate conversations, but to continue conversations once having started them, just because I wasn't able to really express all the emotions that I have. I'm sure there's some statistic out there to say like all the micro expressions that we show through our face contribute to the amiability of our personality, and it really brings me down that I can't always express myself and make those connections with my colleagues or friends as easily as I could beforehand. Luckily, I like to believe that my eyes and my eyebrows are particularly expressive, particularly when I am smiling. I notice that my eyes turn into half moons, and when I am troubled, my eyebrows furrow and cause those 11 frown lines. So I feel like that sometimes helps when making conversation with new people, as well as like just general conversation in the office. But ultimately, I found in my recent work event in London, the most notable thing that I found about wearing face masks in these sessions was that networking was really difficult. And I don't really blame anyone, because I think it's another hurdle to overcome when trying to make a connection with someone. To choose someone that's wearing a face mask is just another hurdle to overcome. I think whether or not we choose to have this bias or not, I believe that if you see someone that's wearing a face mask over someone who isn't, you'll automatically choose someone who isn't wearing one. Just because I think the face mask just exudes this sense of distance and isolation. I think it's really easy to presume that the person wearing the face mask is just very antisocial, because they may feel that they are overly protective against keeping people away because of COVID. Whereas really in my situation it's not really so much of an offensive attack on people, but rather a protective measure to keep myself safe. And that's something that I have to keep telling myself and strengthen my resolve when I keep going out and seeing not many people wearing face masks. So ultimately, yes, I noticed that fewer people came to talk to me and I wasn't able really to communicate as well during these events. At the end of the day, I don't think it really limited me as such, but I definitely noticed kind of the general experience of attending events, attending college was ultimately very different from how it used to be. I like to kind of remind myself that for those people who do take the time to get to know me despite wearing a face mask and make that initiation to connect with me, are often the working relationships that I tend to keep even after the work event or the social interaction. So that's something quite nice to take away with me. All in all, I very much see myself continuing to wear a face mask in the future whilst COVID is still around. When I think about my many reflections on why I wear a face mask, I often come back to the fact that when my kidneys failed, it was in the height of the pandemic, and when I was entered into hospital for emergency dialysis, I was on the renal wards, and it was on these renal wards where I overheard from doctors and nurses about the stories of the renal COVID ward, and these were very much used to ensure that we were aware of all of the risks of staying in the renal ward and the necessity of keeping clean whilst we're in the ward and wearing our face masks there. And I truly believe that I have taken that kind of advice and experience of being in the renal wards during the height of the pandemic back with me when I started home dialysis. And it's really kind of this mentality that has continued on until today. So yeah, these are my thoughts on wearing a face mask in public. I'd love to hear your thoughts too, and if you experience any of the same kind of social anxieties or difficulties from wearing a face mask in this new world of less and less people wearing them. So yeah, let's chat in the comment section below, and would really love it if you could give a like or a subscribe. And yeah, I'll speak to you all next week in my next Come Refill My Pillbox With Me episode. Thanks for listening. Bye.